Angus was an art student I knew. We would go to exhibitions together, and I really liked him. One day, as we walked around talking about life, I told him I believed that black people had smaller brains than whites. I actually said that blacks would only ever be good for music and manual labour. He was shocked and upset that I could come out with something like this, and turned on me with such bitterness that I was totally thrown. Honestly, I had no idea what I'd done wrong. I had never before met anybody who had disagreed with me. And here was Angus having a go at me, and I couldn't understand it. Needless to say, our friendship took a huge nosedive after that, and eventually Angus refused to return my phone calls. When I had thought about it all for a while, I asked myself where that idea had come from and who had put it in my head. It certainly wasn't based on experience, since I didn't know enough black people to be able to decide whether they were less bright than white people or not. I soon realized it had come from a friend of mine who I thought was a scholar. He acted like he knew everything and seemed to have read lots of books. I suppose I was impressed by his knowledge, so I thought he must be right. That was a lesson in how you can form an opinion on something without ever having given it any proper thought. Yet how many times does this happen? At its most dangerous, it can lead to the sort of views expressed by racist and terrorist groups. In everyday terms, it casts you as somebody who cannot form your own opinions. Of course, this is no problem if you like hanging around with other people who don't think for themselves. But if you want to progress in your life, that's not going to get you very far. Give your own true opinion, even if it's different. Have you ever thought why you fear speaking up? Is it because you don't want to look stupid, or you're afraid of being mocked? Maybe you don't speak up when your co-workers tell racist jokes because you don't want to rock the boat, even though you think it's wrong. Maybe you go along with your friends' views because you don't want to appear to be politically correct. There are lots of reasons why we don't say what we really think, and much of it comes down to confidence. You need to feel strong enough to give another view when others all appear to have the same one. And you are only going to do that if you build up your knowledge. Although I never went very far in school, I have read a lot. In fact, I still read pretty much anything I can get my hands on. And I don't only read about what I agree with. I read work by people who make me so angry I want to throttle them. But I read it because they give me another side of the argument to think about. And because I read a lot, if someone in the pub says something I think is a load of rubbish, I feel confident enough to say something I know they won't agree with. And you know what? Even though people might disagree with me, they respect the fact that I have my own ideas. That is generally the way of things.